Hello everyone, welcome to Inconvenient Truths. I'm your host, Jennifer Zeng. Today I want to talk about the recent hot topic about China, the nuclear submarine incident. I reported on this over a month ago, but it only caught major attention in the past few days due to coverage by mainstream media. I will discuss this incident further from three angles. First, more supporting evidence. Second, details about the incident that the mainstream media has not reported. And third, its impact on Xi Jinping's plans regarding Taiwan. You might have seen that on October 3rd, British media outlet Daily Mail reported the accident involving a Chinese nuclear submarine resulting in 55 casualties. The Times also reported this on October 4th. I first reported this over a month ago on September 1st. At that time, there were no reports from other English media outlets regarding the cause of the accident. My report aligns with the Daily Mail and the Times. The nuclear submarine got caught in a trap intended to snare British and US vessels in the Yellow Sea. The information source of Daily Mail and the Times is British intelligence. According to Lude Media, the first Chinese YouTube channel that revealed this incident, British intelligence intercepted classified information from the CCP. On September 1st, I said that the submarine accident was highly possible. At that time, there were two events that supported this. First, on the day following the incident, August 22nd, Xi Jinping was absent from the BRICS summit in South Africa. He wouldn't miss a chance to appear on the international stage without a significant reason. According to Lude Media, Xi Jinping's absence was to receive an urgent briefing about the incident. The second piece of evidence is the CCP's public attack on Lude Media. Based on my understanding of the CCP, if they didn't hit a nerve, the CCP wouldn't publicly name someone, making them even more famous. So the CCP's public attack might indicate the accuracy of this information. Now I can present three more pieces of supporting evidence. One piece of supporting evidence emerged 8 days after the submarine incident on August 29th in Qingdao City, which is very close to the submarine incident site. The government suddenly decreed that starting from September 1st, all 7-seater and below vehicles and motorcycles exceeding 85 decibels of noise were prohibited from using city roads in 4 districts, except highways 24 hours a day. This restriction is very strange. Previous traffic controls either prohibited all movement or aimed to reduce traffic flow. There were restrictions based on license plate numbers, like even numbers allowed to travel on even dates and odd numbers on odd dates. Sometimes there were regulations about emissions to reduce pollution. However, never before have we heard of rules regarding the noise level of vehicles, especially a complete ban for 24 hours. Most people probably don't even know the decibel level of their cars. Yao Cheng, a former colonel of the PLA Navy, now living in the USA, believes that this restriction was implemented to test the submarine's sound without interference from ground vehicles. Take a look at this image published by Daily Mail. Look at the top right corner where the map is. The small red dot and the accompanying text, submarine believed to have sunk here, indicate the closest city to the incident site. I've circled that area in red, and that place is Qingdao City. According to Lude media, the coordinates of the incident sites are 35 degrees north and 121 degrees east. See the two red circles. The red dot represents the incident site, which is right next to Qingdao City. Another piece of supporting evidence comes from Yao Chen's revelation. Northern Theater Command Navy Commander Wang Dazhong is currently engaged in a legal battle with the PLA's Equipment Department. Yao Chen believes this is because the Navy believes that the submarine accident wasn't due to operational errors but equipment failure. Therefore, they want the Equipment Department to take responsibility. The third supporting piece of evidence is from August 28th to 29th, just shortly after the incident occurred. The Central Military Commission of the CCP convened a meeting on the quality of military equipment. The meeting was chaired by Vice Chairman of the Central Commission, Zhang Youxia. Zhang emphasized the importance of equipment quality, the responsibility towards the fighting capacity of the People's Liberation Army, and the lives of soldiers. We all know that the CCP always emphasizes what it lacks. Calling such an urgent meeting about equipment quality a week after the submarine incident indirectly proves that there were indeed problems with the equipment. Otherwise, why stress the responsibility towards soldiers' lives? Clearly, there were significant issues with the equipment leading to the death of soldiers. According to Lude media, around 8:12 a.m. on August 21st, the 93-417 submarine encountered a mechanical failure while on an assessment mission. The submarine got entangled in an anti-submarine chain and anchor obstacle set up by the CCP near the coast. They sent a diver equipped with 3 gas cylinders, natural gas, hydrogen, and oxygen, to work outside the submarine. While cutting the iron chain entangled around the submarine's propeller blades, the diver mistakenly connected hydrogen or natural gas to the oxygen valve due to the identical appearance of the 3 cylinders. This error led to the entry of toxic gases, including natural gas and oxygen mixture, into the submarine. Unfortunately, the submarine's air purification system did not activate or raise an alarm, resulting in the death of all personnel due to gas poisoning. It is said that after completing the cutting task, the diver knocked on the airlock door, attempting to re-enter the submarine. However, there was no response from inside. In the end, he had no choice but to surface and became the only survivor. In other words, there was no explosion on the submarine. The death occurred due to the leakage of toxic gases. The submarine was in shallow waters at a depth of about 20 meters. However, it couldn't surface on its own. Why? It was said that on August 15th, 5 crew members experienced diarrhea, which increased to 20 on the following day. They suspected that these individuals had contracted dysentery. Consequently, on August 18th, the submarine surfaced and 6 soldiers were transferred out for treatment. Simultaneously, the submarine's air purification system was activated for an oxygenless disinfection. However, this oxygenless disinfection mode had a flaw. Once activated, its power system would go into neutral or shut down, causing the submarine to remain suspended 20 meters underwater without surfacing. So the PLA military transported a high-powered inflation device from Lianyungang Airport to the submarine, inflated it, allowing the submarine to surface. About 6 hours later, it was towed back to the submarine base. Therefore, the primary cause of this incident was the submarine's air purification system. This system was made by the 718 Institute of China State Shipbuilding Cooperation located in Handan City, Hebei Province. This institute is a top-tier enterprise of the CCP. According to its own introduction, it has provided high-performance air purification products, such as those used on the Shenzhou series spacecraft, and it also provides the in-flight air ecosystem for the C919, China's self-produced jumbo jet that it has been bragging about. Regarding why the submarine's air purification system malfunctioned, why it didn't sound an alarm, and why it didn't detect toxic gases. These reasons are still not very clear. It might be related to the absence of fluorescent detection agents in the purification system. Additionally, according to regulations, there should have been 2 divers going out for underwater operations, while only one was sent out at that time is still unclear. The investigation team of the PLA's military commission finds the accident very suspicious. Many details cannot be explained yet. The autopsy results for 9 deceased individuals showed that they did not die simply due to a lack of oxygen. It was oxygen deficiency caused by circular damage due to toxic gas. Also, because the access passage of the submarine were very narrow, transferring the bodies was extremely difficult. Rescue and forensic personnel had to wear chemical protective suits. It took reportedly 2 full days to move 55 bodies out. All of these are preliminary assessment. The final investigation report needs to wait until the submarine's black box is decrypted, which will take at least 3 months. Furthermore, the only surviving diver from the submarine is currently being detained. He is under immense pressure and has attempted suicide and self-harm several times. So in this incident, the CCP's most significant loss was not in equipment, but in personnel. The 7 trainees on the submarine were not ordinary ones. They were being trained as commanders for the newly constructed nuclear submarines. The training objective was to master the technology and operational procedures for submerged missile launches. All 93 submarines directly received instructions from Xi Jinping. The 93 model is currently the most advanced. Captain Xue Yongpeng, who died in the incident was the one on the far right in this picture. He specialized in training and assessing captains. It took over 20 years for the CCP to train these specialized technical tenants who died in this incident. So the death of these personnel are the most devastating loss for the CCP. And this is the route the submarine took before the accident. The small dots represent the locations where the submarine surfaced. Periodically, the submarine would surface, contact headquarters, and report its coordinates. Surfacing times and areas were carefully calculated to avoid detection by the U.S. military's satellites. So the submarine set out from Qingdao, circled around Japan, and passed through the eastern side of Taiwan into the South China Sea and the Bashi Channel, finally returning to the accident location in the Yellow Sea. This is just a semantic map lacking precise coordinates, dates, and times, etc. Exploring a safe and mature route requires a considerable amount of military resources and time, so this incident might have rendered all these efforts useless. So this is another heavy blow to the CCP. Lude Media stated that the highest level secret they obtained is that the submarine used a shaftless pump propulsion system. This is a top secret technology of the CCP, with the entire process of design, manufacturing, and installation conducted in highly confidential conditions in the Lopner region of Xinjiang. Everything is physically isolated from the outside world. Finished products were transported in black boxes to Bohai shipyard for assembly. The exposure of this shaftless pump propulsion system means that the submarine's acoustic signature will be captured and detected by the US military, making it even harder to hide in the future. Now let's look at the timeline of the day the accident happened, August 21st. The accident occurred at 8:12 a.m. At 11:20 a.m., Xi Jinping flew to South Africa for the BRICS summit. At 2:04 p.m., the submarine surfaced, and it was discovered that all personnel inside had died. Around 6 to 7 p.m., the report reached Xi Jinping. At that time, he was still on the Boeing 747, not yet having arrived in South Africa. It is said that Xi was very panicked because he didn't know the cause of the incident. He wondered if it was an accident caused by American technology. Was there something wrong with this American-made Boeing 747 he was flying on, or was someone inside the CCP trying to cause trouble? Why did something happen as soon as he boarded the plane? So at that moment, Xi Jinping had no heart at all to go to South Africa. We can also see this from Xi Jinping's behavior in South Africa, especially when his translator was kept outside the venue. He had to meet other leaders alone, displaying a great deal of anxiety and uncertainty. I think this incident dealt another significant blow to Xi Jinping. If he received the news on the plane between 6 and 7 p.m. Beijing time on the same day of the accident happened, just 1 or 2 hours later at 8:45 p.m. Beijing time, Lude Media broadcasted the incident live. The title of the report was Top Secret Intelligence, a Chinese 93 type attack nuclear-powered submarine had an accident while executing a Taiwan Strait mission 6 hours ago. All submarine officers died. Xi Jinping is requesting the Joint Operational Commander Center of the Military Commission to understand this matter. The location mentioned in this title was incorrect, but was soon corrected by Lude Media to the Yellow Sea. In other words, just 6 hours later, or more precisely 1 to 2 hours after Xi Jinping himself received the report, this highly confidential information was exposed overseas. So Xi Jinping must have wondered who leaked this information? How many hidden enemies are there within the military? When considering this, it's not difficult to understand why Xi Jinping recently conducted such extensive purges within the military, including the downfall of Li Shangfu, the current Minister of National Defense, who previously served as the Minister of the Equipment Development Department. All of this might be related to this incident. The death of all personnel on the nuclear submarine is no doubt a significant blow to Xi Jinping's dream of attacking Taiwan. In summary, this year has been continuously troublesome for the CCP. Could this be what people mean by heaven will destroy the CCP? This might just be the concrete manifestation in the world. Well, that's all for today. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and please double check if you are still subscribed. YouTube has constantly suppressed my content, so your support is crucial. Kindly share my video and channel and visit my website at jenniferzengblog.com, jenniferzengblog.com for membership or donations to aid my efforts. Thank you. Have a nice weekend and see you next time.